Hi, my name is Brett Harlow, and this is my Biology 101 video discussion for extinct animals. And the animal that I have chosen today is the passenger pigeon. This animal is one that I was shocked to hear that has been extinct, because when I think of my minimal vocabulary when it comes to birds, this was one that I felt like I relatively knew about or had heard before. But the more I researched, I was really shocked and intrigued by the nature of one, its extinction, but two, just the sheer size of this group. And so before I again walk through, this bird was primarily found on the eastern United States, which is counted for in Virginia, which is where I reside. So you could see them in Virginia at one point. But again, they are now extinct. What makes this bird so unique is at one point in the United States, it was one of the most abundantly found and seen birds in America. And that is, shocking to then hear now that it is extinct, at least this variation of the pigeon. And so it is crazy. Its habitat consists of this. The pigeon, the passenger pigeon, was a medium-sized bird, very similar in appearance to like a dove, and it primarily lived in larger forests on the East Coast. Those consisted of oak and redwoods and some chestnut trees, and its diet really consisted of things. It was a herbivore, so again, fruits, seeds, nuts, all of that above. And according to Scourge's historical research on the species, these birds traveled in extremely large flocks. They said that statistically upwards of the millions they would migrate from, and the dormant parts of the ecosystem, and so or their ecosystem. And so I just think that's shocking that such a large migrative pattern now could be extinct. And so its ecosystem impact was in large, because when you were traveling and had that many numbers, it played a major role in the forests that they would habitat that were considered their habitats. They would help disperse seeds. They would contribute to forest regeneration, while also sort of serving as, again, a key food source for other animals in the the forests, because again, the chain of food, they kind of sat at a place where they one, dispersed food, but they were also a vital resource for many other predators in the forests. Their genetic diversity and extinction risk was interesting, one that really caught my eye. And so one of the more important concepts of the related extinction is the genetic diversity. Naturally, when large populations, they aren't able with larger populations, you have more genetic variation, which then helps species adapt to diseases or environmental changes, weather, deforestation, all the above. However, with the passenger pigeons, population rapidly declining, primarily due to, we'll get to the cause of extinction, but primarily due to humans. Their genetic diversity also decreased, which then kind of didn't allow them, and we see in an article published that the loss of genetic variation kind of made it difficult for these species to recover, which kind of helped lead to its extinction. And so one of the primary causes for its extinction is its causes were humans. I don't know how to sugarcoat it. A lot of it was primarily consisted of hunting. They were driven by human activity, or its extinction was driven by human activity. Overhunting, again, played a major role, and the birds were hunted for many reasons: for food, for sport. And then also, like, as the population of humans grew, deforestation rose, and that allowed or caused for many of them to be relocated, which then caused for it aided in its extinction. And so again, Scourger's research really highlights how quickly those kind of combined factors caused for such a rapid collapse. Community actions today are important, and how how can we plant things, or how can we prevent extinctions? planting native vegetation is really important. Reducing, again, we see this all the time with many things, but just reducing pesticide and really just acknowledging and affirming just the importance of protecting natural habitats that ultimately can contribute to maintaining biodiversity, genetic variation, and just a multitude of things. And so again, these kind of efforts can help support species before they reach the irreversible decline. I think biblical connection to me, dove, again, this bird similarly looks like a dove. I just feel like this was the promise that God gave Noah. I think there's just so much symbolisms to just really what this bird looks like and what birds can do, and just God's creation in general, that we as humans are called to be sowers of the seed, but to be stewards of his creation. And so I just think that when I think of something like this, especially in the context of extinction, I just think it's so important that us humans can recognize the impact we have, even if me myself isn't really thinking that I could really destroy or cause or aid in something like this. That our impact, even if it's small, together can really cause catastrophic instances. And so again, I think that the passenger pigeon is a really clear example of how human activity can lead to extinction, and that even in the impact that, again, a single species can have on an entire ecosystem, such as the East Coast and the forests that they use to habitat. And so I think this is really important for us to just really understand the importance of conservation, responsibility, and the stewardship moving forward. So thank you so much.